Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited, actually, to meet you. We just met minutes ago and have a conversation with you and share with you guys.
Bon dia, good morning. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm here in conversation with Wladimir this morning. We're going to talk about your transition from boxer to business leader. But there's a quick video to show first, so let's just take a quick look at that. Okay, so I think people are very well your sporting achievements, your achievements in the ring, but tell us a little bit about the business side of things. Start with, say, Klitschko Ventures.
Well, it's something that is full of challenges, and I do love challenges. I don't have problems in my life, I have challenges, and I wish to you guys that you will have the same. As soon as you think about problem, you're frozen. So if you take it as a challenge, it's kind of game, it's a puzzle to figure out how you can achieve something and how to put the goal in your life. So I spent almost 3 decades in the sport, and I have collected a lot of experience and expertise on different fields. I decided to just make products out of it. You saw in this presentation and the video a couple of them, and I'm not going to stop on what I have so far done. I will continue, as I said, thanks to my background in the sport.
At what point in your life did you decide to look beyond just sport and in towards a business career as well?
Well, it's not about business itself. It's about accomplishing some goals that I have found on the way. For example, you saw one of the videos was about the hotel. This is the first design hotel in former Soviet republics. It's based in Kyiv, Ukraine, where I'm coming from. And it's a design hotel which is called 11 Mirrors. We're #1 hotel 4 years in a row by TripAdvisor. And you know, TripAdvisor, it's something where travelers are voting and making it happen and vote for it as a good or best hotel in the country or not. So I'm very happy about that. And then people sometimes ask, how it comes? A pugilist and an hotel. You're not an expert. Actually, I am, because I spent a lot of nights, I would say a million nights, well, it's less than that, but a lot of nights at different hotels around the world, and I had a dream. I want to put my expertise as a traveler to put in one hotel where everything is in a place. And I want to meet at breakfast, checking in or out at the lounge, people that think alike, and going in a lot of different things and getting it done in life the way I do it. So pretty much birds with the same patterns get together at Design Hotel 11 Mirrors, as an example. Or intellectual property as challenge management. You saw the book of it 6 weeks ago. The book Challenge Management was published, and I'm very happy that it got into top 10 bestsellers in the German-speaking countries so far. It's in German, but it's going to be translated in English by February. And then how could you be an expert in challenge management, in intellectual property? You're a boxer. It doesn't work together, kind of, because we think in stereotypes in the society. But as I said, out of almost 30 years of my experience in sport, inside of the ring and also outside the ring, made me an expert in challenges, in problem solving, in other words.
So one of those challenges, particularly you mentioned it in the past, was your first professional defeat to Ross Purity, I believe, and you said it was very pivotal in both your life and your career. Why exactly was that?
Well, you have to learn from your failures. You will never achieve probably anything in life if you don't make mistakes. There is a lot of people that gonna tell you, as for example, starts from your parents, don't do that, don't touch that, and there are gonna be some consequences. So the understanding of it is fine, but you have to make your own experiences. My slogan of the team was failure is not an option. Well, failure with obsession is an option. For example, if we think about Columbus, he was going to India, but he discovered North America, so now we have Donald Trump. So what a great coincidence to discover North America, right? Instead of going and be focused on one thing, going to India, that's something that he was as a moving force trying to discover and find out, and then side effect of it, because he was passionate about it and obsessed with his goal to reach India, he reached something else. Or we can go on other examples, Post-it or super glue. Supposed to be, scientists were looking for artificial glass, and they discovered that, well, we didn't really get it so far down with the glass, but we discovered Post-it and super glue. Or this famous product, Viagra, was something that was actually, scientists were thinking about improving heart, but side effect of that medicine was something, as I said, is called Viagra. So failure is something that on one side is negative based, but on the other side, if you do it with passion, with dedication and obsession, it will open up a lot of doors which you don't know about existence of. So far last fight, and it was my last fight at Wembley Stadium on 29th of April, I lost it. I wanted to win the titles and get my titles back, but it didn't work. I was obsessed with this goal. Even though I lost, I won so much of respect and much more. So that night, actually, everybody won. Anthony Joshua, my opponent, fans, because they got really entertaining night, and surprisingly for me, I was not a loser that night.
So coming back to sort of the general side of sport again, is there something specific to yourself and sportsmen and women that can be a particular help or a hindrance in developing their careers beyond sport?
Well, sport is a foundation. I think I'm going to put it parallels between an athlete and an executive or entrepreneur or whatever you guys do. An athlete has a quality as well as a business person or any other person. In executives area, it's called AC/DC. It's not the band that we know about music, but their qualities. A, agility, C, concentration, D for durability, and C for coordination. Agility, concentration, durability, and coordination. Those topics are very important in the sport, and as an expert in sport, I'm telling you, it's important. You're not going to go and achieve any goals if you don't have those qualities. Same actually in business life. If you don't have those qualities, you're probably going to be knocked out by the competitors. So those those four qualities are very important as for an athlete, same way as for a business person. I also want to mention that I was 14 when I started with boxing. I'm 41 today, even if I didn't look like that. I was 14, I was an expert in boxing, and if I wouldn't really educate myself in different areas, I still have a body of a 41-year-old, but my mind would have been left as a 14. And that's most of the time athletes have an issue. They're very professional in what they were doing, in their physical ability, but there's something that has been missing. So to invest your time in education was very, very important to me, but also it's important for other athletes. And I think there are also plenty of examples that athletes have been achieved a lot. Cristiano Ronaldo, I just was thinking about it and talking to my friends. So he has an hotel here in Portugal, and he's an owner and creator of an hotel, which carries his number. And that's something he has as an entrepreneur, and he's invested his time, and probably the same as me, he's been traveling so much around the world, he became an expert at the hotel business now, already these days.
So we always sort of talk about a blurring of the lines between sport and business a lot of the time. And I think boxing is a really fascinating example because it's such a hype sport. You're trying to sort of sell tickets, you're trying to sell pay-per-views as well. But I think people would agree that you took a bit more of a cerebral approach, not so much the trash talking, getting engaged by the provocation. Was that a conscious decision on your behalf when you started off?
And what was the last line?
Was it a conscious decision that you made to take that approach?
Not being trash talker?
Yeah.
Don't ask me those questions.
You sure?
I'm like really positive. I still got it, okay? Just be careful. So we see a lot of athletes going after each other, in this case, boxers. Controversy. I'm gonna eat your children, or I'm gonna chop your head off, whatever. There's some stupid things that were said in the past. On one hand, it's a platform for promotion because people are getting, excited to see, okay, will he really do it or not? So, and I understand this, on one side, it's a trash talk, part of the promotion and the key for the promotion. On the other side, you don't really need it. You don't really need it. We sold the biggest crowd so far in British history past Second World War with 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium with Anthony Joshua without talking once trash talking. Not even once. We had just 2 press conferences, one in London and one in New York, and that's it. 90,000 people in attendance got into the arena, and millions around the world. So it shows also that with the quality of the performers, you can achieve a lot, not just with the trash talk, because talk is cheap.
Very much so, very much so. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about tech and sort of the role it's played for yourself in sort of developing your career beyond sports. Is there anything specifically that has been a real key for you? Has it been social media? Anything else particularly?
In particular, in what? I'm sorry.
Has there been anything particularly in tech that has sort of helped develop your career beyond sport?
All right. Obviously, digitalization is the key for everything these days. If you do not digitalize yourself, you're going to be knocked out by your competitors. Digitalization is the key to prevent diseases, prevent terrorism, prevent communication or discommunication between people around the world. At this Web Summit, there are people from all around the world. And the only communication we got with each other, and because of the Web Summit, is way of digitalization. Anything you do these days, and yesterday already, has to do with digitalization. And I know there are many entrepreneurs of this world, if they don't change their mind, if they're thinking about digitalization as something that they're scared of because they don't understand it, it's too technical, it's actually very simple. And it was created by people for people to make this world a better place. And I'm sure if we will really digitalize ourselves, we'll get efficient and better in every way. So boxing, something that, speaking of that, I'm probably maybe jumping, to your questions a little bit because I know what is going to come up in a certain way. So, how can you digitalize, like Wladimir? What are you talking about? How can you digitalize boxing? Probably one of the most corrupt sports. It is, because there's so many controversies between promoters, managers, broadcasters, sanctioning bodies, decisions that make no sense for the fans. And I think it's very important to understand there is only one core in the sport that is very important in any sport: fans and athletes. If these two are going to be disrespected, any sport is going to go down. How can you digitalize boxing, for example? Simple. Transparency. You have to put every person that is going to judge any of the fights on the screen with his face and, of course, his points, whatever he's going to give during the competition. I believe that every fan has to have a chance to vote. We have mobile devices. We're not watching sports only, either soccer or boxing, only on TV, so we watch it sometimes on our mobile device. Why we do not create an app where every fan can vote and say, well, Josh Mo won over Schmojo. So you can do that as well. And I believe the way of digitalization, whatever broadcast, you can track how many punches were thrown, how many punches were connected, how many miles referee ran around the boxers. We can collect it all in one cloud information that all the fans around the world, while they were watching, for example, Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, whether who won eventually, because there's a lot of controversy who really won, and one of the judges maybe decided not to, and it's so different fight. So I think digitalization helps cities, countries, businesses, in this case boxing, to be more transparent and more open. And it's really manageable. As soon as you digitalize the sport, it's very simple to get any information of this in this world that you want to.
How confident are you that that can happen and will happen?
I'm so confident that even publicly talking about it. It's simple to achieve, you just need to do it.
Fantastic. Just a quick question, moving on to sort of social media. How important a role, well, obviously we know how important a role it plays in everyone's daily lives. How about in terms of providing sort of a link, a bridge, as it were, from a sports person's career to their second part of their career, be that in business or whatever? How important a role does it play for them? And what kind of role did it play for you? And does it play?
Digital media, who is not using these days digital media? I really maybe know a few people, but the rest of the world is using it pretty much as soon as you have access to Wi-Fi or any internet. I think that helps to be this world more democratic, more open, and as I said, transparency is very important for this world. I believe that with certainly digitalization in this case, if we talk about social media, you can fight bureaucracy as well. So you can get first source of the information, and whatever. I mentioned before Donald Trump. You could like him or hate him, whatever. It's not about liking it or not. But he's using his social media, his Twitter account, and whatever he thinks, because he thinks it's all fake news. So he just spread out the news and he stands for it, whatever it is. And I believe that direct information that you can get from the direct source is the truth or the real one, if it's not hacked.
Going back, what one piece of advice would you give to either yourself, starting off your sports career, and when you were thinking beyond it, or to any younger sort of sportsman or sportswoman who was thinking about moving beyond sport after their career?
Well, sportsman, woman, or anybody else, I think it's important to prepare yourself in the good times for bad times, because bad times are always going to come up. No matter how good you are at or something, bad times or challenging times always will appear. To prepare for it, you have to do it during your good times, as I mentioned. I was doing pretty much the same. I was trying really hard to prepare myself for the second career, and I knew my time in sport is not endless. There's going to be time when I will retire. What I'm going to do next? If you think, and many people in this room have changed their jobs multiple times, most of you guys, and you're going to change and going to face another challenge. But if you don't open up your mind now, and if the time will come and you will say, okay, this is it, what's next? At that point of time, you're already lost. because you were not thinking and asking yourself those questions 5 years ago. So it's very important to prepare yourself for the next step. And if you don't, the chances that you're going to get knocked out by competitors, by the destiny, are pretty sure. So prepare yourself. Like in sport, if you want to perform well, you have to get through training camp. You have to prepare yourself for your challenge. So you do in life, from one career to the other, switching one place to the other.
So moving forward, what are the next year, the next years, or further down the line? What do they hold for you?
Well, I'm a front man of the Klitschko brand. My brother is in the politics. I'm not. So I'm front man. It's not about Klitschko brothers or sisters. So I'm running with the flag of the brand, but my dream in 3, 5, maximum 10 years, I want to be on the background, and products of the Klitschko brand going to be in the front ground. So if people will think about Klitschko as products, not as brothers, sisters, or personalities. So that's my dream. If we think about Virgin, we think about hotels, Virgin Galactic Airlines, music, radio, books, you name it. Somewhere in the background, Richard Branson has created it. So pretty much the same concept. I want to break the rules.
It would be remiss of me not to ask a couple of quick boxing questions at the end of this here. Is there anything you miss about not being in the ring?
I've been there, I've done that. As I said, almost 3 decades I've been doing it, and 3 months ago I retired. And I'm happy about it because it was under my conditions. It's very great to be able to make decisions under your conditions. Not because destiny nailed you on the wall or other circumstances forced you to go one direction. I had a chance to give rematch, I had a chance to continue, but I didn't for a reason. Because been there, done that, and I'm ready for my next chapter in my life, for my next career.
Fantastic. And I have to ask as well, because you obviously have very much first-hand experience of this, who would be the best heavyweight left out there? Is it Joshua, Wilder?
Well, today it is Anthony Joshua, hands down, and I wish him shine for a very long time, because the better he does, the more respect and credibility I'll get. Because if I lost to the better man.
And looking back again, is there anything that you would do differently, both in your sporting career and since you've moved on from that as well?
Well, I would think like, well, it would be great if I would have won my last fight so far. But on the other hand, I would never experience winning so much by losing. I've been successful for so many years, and I had it many times, but I never lost and won so much. So I wouldn't change a thing. It's perfect. I'm all set. At the end of my career, I have 3 fundamental stones, and that's my health, my capital, and my brand.
And going back to boxing as well, how do you see the future for boxing competing against sort of the oncoming other sports as well, such as UFC, other mixed martial arts? Where will it sit in, say, 5, 10 years' time? Do you think it can hold off that challenge?
Well, I think boxing has a bright future, and it's always going to be in, because if you think about Jake London, Pythagoras, Platon, Nelson Mandela, so there's a lot of guys that were involved. Carlos Slim, one day the richest man of the world from Mexico, he used to box as well. So there's a lot of great minds that were involved in this beautiful sweet science, as boxing is called, sweet science. And I think it has bright future, but only if it's going to be digitalized. Because we need more prosperity, we need more to see through in this sport. And I think it could get better than it is right now, and could get better image than it is right now. So I really crossing my fingers, and will do anything from my side to make it happen.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I think we're coming towards the end of this now, so I'd like to thank you very much, Wladimir, for a very interesting talk. Thank you very much for that. Thank you all very much for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, the rest of the Web Summit. Obrigado.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you.